Hello, friends. My name is Robert Bevan, and I write the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today is what is it?
It's Warlock Wednesday.
Warlock Wednesday!
Yeah.
Yay! You don't.
Excellent.
All right. Are you
Listen,
feeling the Warlock Wednesday, Sam? You don't.
I
No.
am. It's
All
a
right.
mellow Warlock Wednesday this time around. A mellow Warlock Wednesday. So we're vibing. We're enjoying it. We actually have a good invocation to talk about.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. The last ones were kind of mellow because those invocations sucked, but we got. All right. Well, I might as well introduce it now. Today we're talking about the Eldritch Invocation, Misty Visions.
Yeah, and it's really simple. It's wonderful. So it's from the player's handbook. It says these simple words. You can cast Silent Image at will without expending a spell slot or material components. I love Misty Visions. This is normally the first invocation I'm putting on every single one of my character sheets, but that's just because I'm a sucker for illusions, and this is one of the best illusion effects in the game.
I'm not a sucker for illusions, but I am a sucker for at will without spending spell slot or material components.
Yeah, it's free first
And
level spells as many times as you want it.
and more importantly, unlike some others we've talked about in the past, there's no prerequisites required.
Nope, you can just start with this out the gate. You can just have it. It's gonna feel most of the time like a better minor illusion, and it's like a pretty substantial upgrade over minor illusion because it hits a way bigger area. You can have the image move and be animated and do stuff like that. And even as an invocation that you just take to give your character a specific fantasy, it delivers on it so easily. You can just create the illusions around you that give your character the atmosphere that you want them to have, whether that be, a mantle of flames as a walk. I just passively walk around with that because my character thinks they're, the most badass fire weaver of all time that worships the devil. Or maybe you take it to a more whimsical route where you add on little flavor bits. Like while I'm dreaming, the silent images just like of my dreams come out of my brain and fill the space around me in a cute little way. There's a lot that Silent Image at Will does for the presentation of a character, but it's also just like a great spell. And I'm a big fan to have it as early as I can get it.
Yeah, I could see me if I put some forethought into it, getting a lot of use out of this. I mean, there's infinite possibilities. It's just it kind of overwhelms me.
Illusions are definitely one of those things that you kind of want to go into them with some set of plans to say, okay, I know it can do this, I know it can do this, I know it can do this. All these are relatively easy things to do. So, for example, this can make a barricade, this can make a barrier, this can make a box. All of those things are great at obscuring vision. So if you ever need to hide and you need to fit in with the environment, and you've broken in somewhere you're not supposed to be, and there's crates everywhere, maybe you're in an abandoned warehouse or something, and you don't want to get caught, silent image, you're in a box. And you just chill. You're just sitting in the box, and you hope they don't notice anything shaky or weird about this box, and they move on with their lives, and you use it as cover. That's a really easy use case. Hiding is a super easy thing to do with silent image that makes it really easy, really applicable to many different situations, I think.
Now, let's say you're in the woods
Yeah.
and you make a box. Yeah, it looks out of place. Um, but will that keep you from being, will that give you cover and keep you from being targeted by spells that require line of vision?
So it depends. So if things can see through the illusion, they can see you, right?
Right.
It's a physical action, reveals the illusion. A creature can use its action to discern it as an illusion. A creature discerns the illusion for what it is, it can see through it, which means that it doesn't block sight. Now, if they don't discern and they don't see through the illusion, it does block sight. So there is a moment where you're like, crap, the enemy team is a spellcaster. I'm either going to make them waste an action to discern what I've created as an illusion, or I'm not going to get targeted by the spell that requires sight. It's fairly niche still, but that's a
I mean,
real use
still,
case you could do with this as
making
well.
them blow an action to do that, or choosing not to do that because
Yeah,
they
they're
don't want
probably
to
just not
blow an
going to do
action.
that.
That's what was my next question going to be?
Great question.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So
Let's take the woods example, and you'd be
I,
like, well, I can't just make a
wait, I
box in the woods,
remember,
but
I
you can
remember,
make
I
a
remember.
tree, you can make
I,
a bush.
I know, but yeah, for the sake of argument, I
Okay.
remember what I was going to ask. All right. So yes, they see this box that looks really out of place in the woods. They know that's probably an illusion. Does that affect their chances to discern it?
Okay, so this is the thing about illusions when it comes to that exact question. what determines a creature's willingness to investigate something as an illusion is entirely in the DM's court. They get to decide at what level and to what degree their stuff is investigating your illusions. So
Alright.
if you create something that hypothetically fits in the environment, most GMs aren't going to investigate it. If you place something that doesn't belong in the environment, most DMs will investigate it. There are DMs on either end of the spectrum that will always investigate everything and won't investigate anything. And finding where your DM is on that spectrum definitely varies the utility and kind of like dumb nonsense stuff you can get up to with illusions, which is a big component of Silent Image.
All right, that's definitely good to address. However, my actual question was, all right, given this, they know they're obviously going to investigate if they have a free action to spare, because they know that crate has no business being here in the woods.
Let's pick a less generic
No,
object. I can think of plenty of examples where a crate would be in the woods. How about that toaster? That toaster doesn't belong in the woods.
All right, well, I'm not hiding in a toaster. All right, it's a giant toaster. Yeah, that's
A
even more
giant
ridiculous.
toaster. Perfect. Get even more ridiculous with it.
Okay.
Very obviously not a real thing. Okay.
Right. Okay. Now, how discerning an illusion, do they have to make a check or something?
Yeah, a creature that takes action to examine the image can determine that it is an illusion with a successful intelligence investigation check against your spell save DC.
Okay.
So if you have a really high spell save DC, they might still go, how is that real? What is that?
So the ridiculousness of the obvious illusion doesn't factor into that check.
Rules is written, no. A lot of
Okay.
DMs are going to change things on the fly. A lot of DMs will provide either advantage because, like, obviously this is out of place, or they'll provide a flat bonus if they're feeling, you know, like this is obviously stupid. They're going to see through this because it's stupid. Again, it varies by DM. People will often make things easier to discern as illusions when they're more outlandish. Now, again, that's not rules as written, but that's something I would expect as a player going into this to face some level of as you adventure.
All right. Last question regarding this, anyway.
Sure.
All right. I'm inside the giant toaster. The wizard is choosing. Now, I know it's an illusion because I cast it. I can see through it, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Suppose I start shooting crossbows out of it. Like, will that give the illusion away?
I believe the answer is no. I believe the answer is their arrows are phasing through an object from the perspective of the other creatures.
All right, that's fun.
Yeah, it sure is something. Now, things entering into the space will obviously reveal it to be an illusion, and things revealed as obviously illusory will give people the ability to see through it, right? So it says, if a creature discerns the illusion for what it is, it can see through the image. This could lead to readings and interpretations where you shooting out of it counts for saying this is obviously illusory. That's going to, again, depend on DM interpretation. If there's an object that could be reasonably shot out of,
right.
Sure,
I was thinking,
maybe.
I was going for the big toaster just for complete ridiculousness' sake, for the arguments and everything.
Something you very obviously can't shoot out of. Yeah.
Like, now say you're on the outskirts of some temple grounds and you make the illusion of a totem pole with like holes in it, and okay, it's conceivable that could be there, and arrows would fly out of it, like some kind of Indiana Jones trap.
Sure.
Okay.
Again, it'll entirely vary on the DM as far as if that will be discerned as illusion from you shooting out of it and stuff. Rules as written, the answer though is no. Rules as written, it will be just a magical barrier or magical pillar that if things don't investigate it, won't be discerned as illusory until something physically interacts with it and finds out it's illusory, like some creature does. The physical interaction with the image reveals it to be an illusion. So like I read that as things have to physically interact with it to discern it as an illusion for themselves. That could also be read though to say anything that would physically interact with it reveals its illusory properties, which might be the rules as written or rules as intended. So this is messy. But I would say in your specific case with the you create a structure, like maybe you're in a Kobold Warrens and there's just a little hallway and you put up a wall that has little arrow slits in it as your illusion and then you fire out of that. I would say as a DM, that physical interaction is not happening with the illusion because it's going through the spaces that are in it. So hypothetically, that should always work.
Okay. You know what? Like, I came into this thinking, I'm probably never gonna use this, but I'm coming up with so much fun uses for it. right now on the
Yeah, and
floor.
we're talking about like physical objects. We haven't touched on creatures, and this also does that, right?
Oh,
You
yeah,
can
yeah,
make
yeah.
creatures come into space that walk and interact and do things. They could be perfect replicas of things you've seen. Nothing's holding you back from making an NPC break into a bank, right? Like the only thing, if people perceive it occurring and you can make them believe that it happened, you've got a tool that helps you with that, the silent image, and you have it at will. It's 15 foot, and you can make all of the movement look natural. Like it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, you can even make it more believable by robbing the bank yourself.
Exactly. And
Sending
then
him
you
out there,
pin it
yeah.
on that guy.
Yeah.
It's perfect. You got a guaranteed alibi whenever you set your silent image somewhere. And then you run off while your silent image is like, just in public. You commit some crime and you come back within 10 minutes and you just, seamlessly meld back into your illusion. Go, I was here the whole time. I got witnesses. I couldn't have possibly robbed the bank while you have the bag of money over your shoulder. It's very fun. There's a lot of cute little things you can do with this. And we're barely scratched the surface of the potentials of illusions.
Yeah. Have we done silent image yet?
I don't think so.
Oh,
If
well,
we have, go watch that video.
We might want to save some of this for that.
I mean, that's what this is, right? There's a thing to consider in the context of this warlock specific invocation, Misty Visions. This takes your concentration, which often is going to lead this to be an out of combat exploration tool that you don't use while you have a summoned ally up, while you have your hex up, whatever the other warlock concentration option you default to is. This will be something that you do around those encounters, not in those encounters. You can leverage it in them, like if you drop your shadow spawn to getting hit by a rock, you can suddenly go, oh no, things are going south, my shadow spawn is gone, I'm gonna make something to hide in that's around the corner or whatever, or I'm gonna make it look like my shadow spawn didn't in fact go down, and you conjure the illusion of it coming out of the floor or whatever and try and leverage that in some interesting ways. But for the most part, silent image is going to be a social and out of combat exploration. Isn't necessarily the right word because it just really has to interact with creatures, but if you're around things that can see, this is a tool to engage with them in some really cool ways.
Peripheral to combat.
Yeah, peripheral to combat.
Yeah, because I can see myself using this a lot as bait.
To set things up, it's pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
It being at will makes it really great. A 15-foot cube is enormous. 15-foot cube is gigantic. Like, whew, it's a big space.
Yeah.
That's Misty Visions. It's great. I love it so dearly. I highly recommend finding any room on your character sheet to put it. If you don't need Agonizing Blast, if you don't need Thirsting Blade, find room for Misty Visions. It's super fun.
Yeah, it's really exciting getting to use a level 1 spell cantrip like.
Yeah, we've even talked about the False Life at will. And False Life's garbage, like compared to Silent Image, but it's still pretty good as an invocation whenever you can just spam it. In this case, you're not necessarily spamming it, but you can, and you have a whole bunch more opportunity to use this a lot. I would say Misty Visions, Fiendish Vigor, these are like where I would want the floor to be for an acceptable Warlock spell, because it compensates for Pact Magic only giving you a couple of spell slots, right? You can do 1 or 2 spells really well as many times as you'd like, but you're limited in what actual spells you have the lists for that can be upcast and do other things with because of Pact Magic. I think it's a great trade-off. And in this particular context and like how the game is played today, these are the ones that work great with the class.
All right. Well, you got a rating?
I think this is a 4 out of 5. It's not quite game breaking. It's still not like find familiar fireball revivify levels of this game is now different because this exists. That being said, it's really powerful. It's illusions. Illusions can do really gross things. Concentration makes it a little bit more reined in. You can't do all of what you'd like with this. You still have to be really clever with it, and it can't do literally everything, but it does a great impression of finding solutions with creatures. And for that reason, like your DM's gonna have to think, oh, okay, they got Misty Visions. What's that gonna mean for this coming social encounter? What's that gonna mean for them investigating the Warren? Like they have infinite uses of a giant 15-foot barricade if they want one. What does that mean for me?
I don't know. After the last couple of invocations we did, I'm feeling generous. I need, this is a breath of fresh air. I'm giving it a 5. It's the concentration doesn't bother me because you're probably not using this in combat anyway. 10 minutes is a nice long time. It's enough time to set up what you need to set up. Let your targets be fooled, approach whatever you're doing or be repelled from it for the amount of time you need until things go south, and then you get your other shit out and start fighting.
And listen, if you need it to be longer, you can recast it. So hypothetically, you just have the illusion go somewhere where it's not immediately in line of sight, and then
yeah, that's right, because it moves. Yes. All right. So Misty Visions, I like it. Sam likes it. Great.
Commenters, do you like it? Am I overrating this wildly? Is Bob overrating this even more? Let us know in the comments down below if you think Misty Visions is trash or exceptional. What invocations to take over this is the actual like big question that I have, because I'm pretty sure this is, yeah, it's my default if I don't know what I'm doing with my warlocks.
Yeah, that's the thing. If I don't know what else I'm doing, but if I'm
A lot of times you got room alongside that, right? You get two at the second level, so
yeah. If I'm making a warlock, I probably have a plan that doesn't involve this, in which case I might take it down the line somewhere. But
that's fair.
I could just as easily see me making a warlock, planning to use this, or at least that's part of my build, whatever. Good times to be had for sure. All right, that's enough of that. This was Misty Visions. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Let us know what you think in the comments. Subscribe and like and the bell and all that, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns and Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.